Good morning, I'm Rick.
And I'm Chubby, and I'm here to help discuss how to display your minerals properly.
So there's a number of different ways to display your minerals, and a lot of them we see that are really good. If you go to museums, you see that they're all nice, labeled, and put in cabinets, and it's easy to see them. And people like that, and that's what I try to do in my house. In fact, my kids complain that we live in a museum. I tell them, well, yeah, that's exactly what we do. So today we're going to show a few of the things, a few of the ways I do it. Feel free to use your own creativity to display your minerals. Whatever you do, don't just throw them in a box. I see that all the time. Oh, this is a $1,000 specimen. I keep it in a box buried underneath my other $5 specimens. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. Because then when you go to sell them or you go to show them to somebody, they don't look as pretty anymore. So you want to keep them nice and fresh and clean and undamaged. Damage is the absolute enemy of all mineral specimens. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. So some ways to display your specimens is I like to use old metal.
We get this metal all from old mines that we go to. And we go to a lot of mines. And we just pick up the old metal, rusty metal, and it works perfectly.
So you can see this one is actually a drill bit. It's a drill head that I found out at the Centennial Eureka mine, and it works great because it's got a round top. Works great for spheres. An old rusty nut works great for spheres too. I've seen people use brand new ones from the hardware store. They're shiny and metal, but I think that detracts from the shininess. It gets your attention more than the specimen does, the spheres. This is a brake pad, a brake lever from a cage for lowering miners up and down inside the mines, and I found that out there. It's got a square top, but up here it's square, but it's perfectly square, so it holds spheres really nice. And there's all kinds of acrylic stands. You can get these ones that clamp like that, and they clamp and hold specimens. You can get ones for holding slabs. These ones you put a little bit of geotack or mineral tack on there. And then these ones are for holding spheres or gemstones specifically. Geotack or mineral tack is this white putty stuff. It comes sandwiched like this, and you just pull off a little piece. It's similar to poster putty, and you can put it on something and stick your specimen to it, and it holds it in place for you. It was developed for California museums because of the earthquakes, and so they would take this and put it behind their specimens to hold them in place during small earthquakes. If you get a big earthquake, there's no saving. So Rikers. We like Riker trays. You can put lots of specimens in Riker trays that keep fingers away from them and yet protect them. You got to be careful that they're not, whatever you're putting in here is not smashed by the glass, or that you put something in there and then crack the glass. But yep, and they have little clips that hold them in place, hold the trays together, so you can keep them that way. I really like these little, some people call them clamshells or snap cases. They're clear plastic, some almost like saran wrap in there, and so you can actually put a really big three-dimensional specimen in there, and it'll hold it. And or you can put small little ones that they work best for ones that are transparent, because then it lets the light through on both sides. I really like that. Glass bottles work great for small things that you need to keep track of, especially if you have a lot of them, like a little pile of turquoise. So let's tour my house, and we'll take a look and see what other things there are around out there to ways to display your specimens.
All right, let's go. Come on, folks.
All right, so one of the ways I store my radioactive specimens is out in the garage. And you can see as you get closer and closer, the more radioactive these things get. And some of them are pretty radioactive, actually. It's already beeping that we're at the high levels. So that one's 5,100 counts per minute, 7,000 counts per minute. It's going up pretty high. So these are specimens you do not want to keep in your house, and not because of the radiation itself, because it's only radioactive for about 2 to 3 feet away. You get this far away from here, it's not going to detect them at all. What radioactive mineral specimens do is they do produce radon gas, and radon gas is a concern, and so you want to keep it outside. And actually, when I say radon gas is a concern, we say that a lot, especially in real estate. When we're talking about radon in a house, we always say it's very dangerous, and actually radon gas itself is not the danger. Radon deteriorates, it decays, and it's the very last product the daughter product that it produces is a solid called polonium, and polonium is extremely radioactive. And so people who have this in their house, radon in their house, they wind up eventually with a solid polonium dust covering everything. And so that can be really hazardous. It is a cause of cancer, of lung cancer. It's a really high cause of lung cancer for people who are smokers. And I'm not dissing smokers in any way. It's just what happens is that polonium dust gets trapped in the nicotine and the tar in their lungs, and then you have a permanent radiation source stuck to the inside of your lungs, and that's what causes lung cancer. So for radioactive specimens, it's always best to store them outside. In the garage, you get enough ventilation coming through here that I don't have to worry about it. So all I have to do is open the big garage door and all that radon gas is gone. You do that once or twice, 3 times a day, and you have no health issues, no health concerns whatsoever. You definitely don't want to put some of these under your pillow though. You'll wind up with kids that have 3 heads or something like that. So, all right, let's go. All right, so here's one of my main display cabinets in the house, and this one is, everything in here is from Utah. And so we have a lot of stuff just sitting directly on the glass like that. And the problem when you just set it directly on the glass is that vibrations from vehicles going by or you walking through the house, as these specimens tend to walk across here. So usually I'll put a little dop of mineral tack underneath them or geotack to hold them down. And that works really good, except then when you go to clean your glass, you have to clean that all off your glass. And so it's a pain in the butt. So bigger specimens like this tend to not walk very much, but lighter ones like the smoky quartz, this one's always moving around on here. So I'll put it in here like this and I'll come back in a few days and it'll be completely turned to a different direction. I actually thought I had Casper in here helping me, you know, the friendly ghost, and thought he was being funny, but turns out it's just vibrations. Who would have thunk that? So when you have a mineral cabinet like this, one of the things you want to have to be careful for is putting mineral specimens in here that will react with other mineral specimens. So any mineral specimen that falls into the sulfides, that's a mineral that's primarily made up of sulfur. The gas, it can produce gases, and those gases will mix with moisture in the air and definitely create an acid that will dissolve everything. And then what happens in here is that we have marcasite and pyrite here, which do produce those gases. And I put this here next to it, this aragonite, so that as an example, this will produce the gas and it will dissolve. So you have the acids coming off of the fumes coming off of the pyrites, and it'll dissolve the carbonates. So you have to be careful of that. Another thing you have to be careful of when you put minerals in a display cabinet is if it's in the direct sun, then, or it gets even very close to indirect sunlight, you will get mineral specimens that will fade. And there are hundreds of mineral specimens, minerals that will fade in direct sunlight. Amethyst will most certainly fade. People put it in their windows. I see it in windows all the time. And I tell people, well, you know, you're just bleaching it out, so you want white quartz, obviously, and or clear quartz. Other ones that will fade is Utah topaz. Is famous for it. Even though this is all Utah, I don't have any Utah topaz in here because it would not stay brown. It would just go clear. Go clear in a matter of minutes. So it can really happen fast in a cabinet. So anyway, a couple things to look out for. I also have used a number of things like chemistry beakers and flasks. This is an Erlenmeyer flask that I store red burl in. Kind of cool. My goal is to fill it up, obviously. So, all right, let's move on. All right, Chompy, let's go show them what we use sheets for.
Okay, so you can see here, we have sheets on this cabinet.
And in there is a cabinet.
We use those sheets to protect these specimens from the light.
Yes, because some of these specimens in here get direct sunlight in the mornings, so we put a sheet over them to protect them.
We want them to look good forever.
Yes, we do. And this specimen here has a sheet on it for a completely different reason.
This one is allergic to dust. We hate dust.
Yeah, so when this gets full of dust, it is a bugger to clean. We have to take it outside, hose it out, and then let it dry, and then bring it back in. It's light sensitive, so we don't like to leave it outside for very long.
That would be bad.
And here you can see we've actually used an antique scale to put it on, so we know exactly how much this specimen weighs. How much does it weigh, you ask?
How much?
It weighs 269 pounds.
Wow!
All right, one more way of displaying your jewelry collection or your mineral collection is by wearing it. We love to wear our jewelry. These are, I'm wearing an ammonite. This is from Russia. It's pretty cool. It's a great way to display it on my neck. I can walk around with it all the time. And then Marita, she likes to sport her jewelry. She likes to wear large, chunky jewelry. So that's a topaz from Ouro Preto, Brazil, and some citrine. She color coordinates, not stone coordinates. So, and then in here, you know, just some stuff that she keeps around that she wears on a regular basis. Want to say anything?
This is my favorite way to display rocks and minerals.
She allows me to use the rest of the house.
Thank you.
All right, so another thing I've done with slabs is I've mounted them to the walls in the stairwell here. They're kind of out of the way. They don't get a lot of dust, no light, so they're kind of well protected. And what I've used is little L hooks that you can buy them at Home Depot or Lowe's, and I screwed them into the walls. Some of them that were really heavy had to have wall anchors put in, and then some of them that are really light, where you can see there's not any hooks, I use double-sided sticky Velcro on them and just put them on the walls with that. The disadvantage to doing this is that we're thinking about painting this hallway, and I got to take everything down to do that. So do it paint before you hang. So take a look at these as you come on down. All right, so if you have space in your house and you have the money to do this and you have a very loving spouse, then you can get away with putting an entire room in the basement that is dedicated just to your rocks. Now, these cabinets here are just IKEA cabinets and IKEA lighting. I bought those and we had it all. It's kind of funny. The typical IKEA thing, you know, it takes 3 hours to do one cabinet, and then it took an hour to do the rest, and the next 16. And so we got all the cabinets put together. When you're looking at cabinets, make sure you get ones that fit your collection and your personality. I have a mix of ones that have wooden shelves with lights underneath them, and then glass shelves with lights above them that shine down through. There's advantages and disadvantages to both, which is why I have some of each. And sometimes you just get what you get. Cabinets can be expensive. I noticed that IKEA doesn't even carry these ones anymore, but the ones that they've replaced them with are way more expensive now. And now that I need like 6 more cabinets, it's going to be a lot more money. I like to get antique cabinets as well and use those. The problem with antique cabinets is that they're usually not designed for this kind of thing, so they often don't work very well. They're usually a weird shape and they don't hold very many specimens. But you know, get what you like and get what you want for your cabinets. You'll look inside these cabinets, you'll see a lot of them have the name tags. Some of them don't. I'm still working on name tags for everything. A lot of them are mounted on acrylic stands, and I've used the boxes, these white cotton boxes that are famous with mineral collectors and mineral dealers, and I've turned them upside down and used the lid for a low platform and the base for a taller platform, so I can layer them and so you can get the depth of specimens in there. So yeah, anyway, make sure you look at those. Look for what works best for you. That's the important thing. The next important thing is to make sure you have a spouse that will allow you to do this sort of thing. All right, one last thing about displaying your specimens is dust is a huge factor. You can have really fragile specimens that are completely destroyed by dust, so you have to keep them sealed up from dust. Cabinets like this work great that have the lip. They keep the dust out very well. If you get cabinets that don't, and I've done this many times, is I get the foam insulation, the long little strips that you can just peel and stick. Put those in between the doors and around the edges. It keeps the dust out. Works really good. If you do have fine specimens that get dust on them, these little paint brushes are perfect for cleaning these little display stands. You can get in there and do that. Try not to blow on them too much, but you know, you can use these little art brushes. I don't get the expensive ones. I get these makeup ones. I don't know what the women use these for, but I use them for cleaning mineral specimens. They're great. They're really super soft, and you can take a fairly fragile specimen and just dust it right with that. Of course, you know, this is for fragile ones. If you get something like quartz, you can just throw it in the dishwasher and that'll clean it up too. But the deal is that to keep the dust off of them to begin with. So, thanks for watching.